After years of watching black-clad anarchists terrorize our cities, burn businesses, assault innocent Americans, and coordinate nationwide violence, well, President Trump, well, he's just dropped the hammer. The executive order, now officially signed, Antifa officially designated a domestic terrorist organization, but that's only the beginning. This designation triggers federal powers that will expose something far more sinister than street riots. Dr. Karlyn Borysenko went undercover for 3 weeks in their training camps. What she discovered will chill you to the bone. In this week's Dallas ICE facility shooter, connected to something much bigger. The terror label just opened doors into classified intelligence, financial records, and names that will shock America. And what you're about to learn reveals their next horrifying move. And you need to tell somebody. So keep watching. And while Antifa terrorists coordinate economic warfare through teacher union strikes plotting to collapse our economy, hardworking families already struggle under their allied regime's policies. 1 in 4 low-income households spend 15% of income on electricity, while anarchists plan nationwide shutdowns. Since 2022, rates exploded faster than inflation. Economic terrorism by design. Protect yourself with this energy-saving device. Stabilizes your electrical current, reduces dirty electricity, helps slash bills, weaponized against you. Plug it in, works instantly against their economic assault, and get your $100 utility rebate certificate. Now this is only 60% off at don'twastepower.com. Don't let the terrorists win. Order yours at don'twastepower.com today. Now, Terry Newsom sent me this video earlier today, and it's fitting because we have terrorists attacking a Broadview ICE facility. Wait, I want you to listen very carefully at this moment. You see, they're right here. They are bringing somebody in that they have just arrested. It looks like they've erected some new barriers. But listen carefully.
They just drop out balls.
They're asking, why is he being arrested? He said he was carrying a gun. Think about that. In light of that shooter that opened fire on the ICE facility in Texas, now we have Broadview, Illinois, somebody caught with a gun at the facility, arrested promptly. Listen again, listen carefully. Carrying a gun at an ICE facility. Here's even more from Terry. While at the Broadview ICE Center, I caught peaceful Chicago Marxist protesters shouting, "Shoot ICE and kill ICE."
At the same time, I just left the Broadview ICE Center, and you'll see these peaceful protesters are chanting or yelling, "Shoot ICE, kill ICE, arrest ICE." But at the same time, they're yelling at the agents as they're approaching areas where they told them not to approach, that they're peaceful protesters, while they're at the same time saying, "Shoot ICE."
Arrest ICE! Arrest ICE! Arrest ICE! Shoot ICE! Shoot ICE! Shoot the fucker! Shoot the fucker!
Yeah, you heard that, right?
I just left the Broadview.
That's what they're screaming. As you know, we uncovered a money trail this week. A couple days ago, we posted this thread. I'm not going to go into great detail, but the money trail behind Antifa, behind all of these domestic terror attacks on the United States, all trace back to Soros and this group, $80 million. They found it, the funding of Antifa terror groups in the crosshairs. I want to make sure we give credit to the individuals. Capital Research Center, their report reveals Soros Open Society Foundation funneled over $80 million since 2016 into groups that train militants, glorify Hamas, October 7th massacre, and sponsor domestic sabotage. You can go back and check the channel for the full report on that. But it's all connected. It's all connected. Trump, of course, crushing the Antifa threat. As you know, President Trump has signed an executive order declaring Antifa a domestic terror group. Dr. Karlyn B., anti-communist cult leader who's been exposing their true goals for years. The gloves are finally off. So this is another thread we just posted. And I want to make sure we give credit where credit's due because she's doing absolutely amazing work. Antifa's violent goal exposed clearly. Trump's order states Antifa is a militarist anarchist movement bent on overthrowing our government, law enforcement, and the rule of law. Even Fox News discussions predicted this exact line. And Trump listened. Let's check in with Dr. Karlyn.
Hey, let's see what Trump's executive order designating Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization actually says.
Antifa is a militarist, anarchist enterprise that explicitly calls for the overthrow of the United States government, law enforcement authorities, and our system of law.
You know what? Hey, I've got to give it to Trump right off the bat. Is it possible? Hang on a second. Is it possible that this line is in the executive order because I said it on Fox News? Is that possible? Do you guys remember when Jesse Waters asked me what is the goal of Antifa? And I explicitly said the goal of Antifa is to overthrow the federal government. And now in the very first line of the Trump executive order, they're saying Antifa calls for the overthrow of the federal government. Is it fucking possible that I did that?
Congratulations.
Holy shit. Holy shit. Wow. Okay, I'll take it, Trump. Okay.
Antifa is a militarist, anarchist enterprise that explicitly calls for the overthrow of the United States government, law enforcement authorities, and our system of law. It uses illegal means to organize and execute a campaign of violence and terrorism nationwide to accomplish these goals. This campaign involves coordinated efforts to obstruct enforcement of federal laws through armed standoffs with law enforcement, organized riots, violent assaults on immigration and customs enforcement and other law enforcement officers, and routine doxing of and other threats against political figures and activists.
I'm loving this so far. Let's see what Trump's executive order designates.
Okay, we're going to dig deeper. Recruitment and secrecy fully revealed. The order details how Antifa radicalizes youth, conceals funding, hides operatives, and coordinates with allies to crush free speech. This is organized domestic terror by design, and Trump nailed it in Section 1.
To shield.
I'm loving this so far.
Antifa recruits, trains, and radicalizes young Americans to engage in this violence and suppression of political activity, then employs elaborate means and mechanisms to shield the identities of its operatives, conceal its funding sources and operations in an effort to frustrate law enforcement, and recruit additional members.
Yes.
Individuals
true.
Associated with and acting on behalf of Antifa further coordinate with other organizations and entities for the purpose of spreading, fomenting, and advancing political violence and suppressing lawful political speech. This organized effort designed to achieve policy objectives by coercion and intimidation is domestic terrorism.
Hey, listen, I think we're off to a strong start with the first section. Everything they said in the first section is right. So I'm actually pleasantly surprised and shocked to see that everything in the first section of this is correct. That makes me much more hopeful than I was 48 hours ago. I'm loving this so far.
Antifa recruits, trains.
Now, this thread continues to break down the executive order that President Trump signed. And, of course, it is about time. Because you have groups like this outside of ICE facilities carrying guns, especially in light of what happened this week. Here's more. Here's Karen. She posted this 6 days ago. She says, arrest all Antifa. She's calling it what it is. This is the same Broadview facility.
You're ICE. How do you spell racist? ICE. How do you spell fascist? ICE. How do you spell fascist? ICE. How do you spell racist? You're on video. Stand on this. Put him down. We know. Stand on you.
Well, if you mess around, you are going to find out. I want to get to where she was talking about. Okay, here she is on Jesse Waters. This is September 19th. This is what she was talking about.
These terrorists. Karlyn Borysenko is an undercover investigative journalist for Decode the Left who's infiltrated these terror cells. Karlyn, tell me about how these people train. They look pretty militaristic.
Yeah, absolutely. They do have sessions where they bring in people with military experience. Anti-war is a very big thing for Antifa, so they do hand-to-hand combat trainings. I was just undercover with them in New York City over the weekend where they had a whole self-defense class where they were teaching people how to violently, confront the police, but also defend themselves if they needed to be put in that position.
And why do they always get out of jail so quickly? You see all these people get popped, they get bailed right out, and charges never stick. How is that?
Well, Antifa, actually, they train people on how to get arrested. And it's interesting with far left subcultures because they actually volunteer to get arrested and go through this type of training where they are provided legal support, they are provided lawyers, they are provided all of this stuff with mutual aid. And so as soon as they get arrested, Antifa basically goes down to the jail and they bail them out and they are all set up with a lawyer and ready to go. So they plan all this stuff out ahead of time and they have the resources set up for people to be able to be taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, obviously someone's paying for their legal representation. What is the core mission of Antifa? Is it anarchy? Are they anarchists?
Yeah, Antifa are anarchists. Their primary goal is the violent overthrow of the federal government. I cannot emphasize this enough. We've been hearing a lot of talk about civil war over the last couple of years between Democrats and Republicans, red versus blue. I firmly believe that the real civil war we have coming is the radical revolutionary socialists and communists in Antifa versus the federal government. That is their goal. That is their only goal. And people need to start taking this problem very, very seriously.
Karlyn Borysenko.
And of course, President Trump is taking it seriously now. I'll get to the shooter, the ICE shooter, in a second. Her take on that, but I think this is really probably the most important point we need to make here: that the Democrat Socialists of America are planning to use the teachers' unions to cripple the economy by going on strike. Hear them say it. In this exclusive clip as part of the SALT training that she attended for 3 weeks, where they put socialists in jobs to agitate from within the unions. Now, we covered some of her investigation into the SALT training in a previous report. You can find that in detail on the channel. But this is actually quite terrifying when you think about what the teachers unions can do, and when they seed those teachers unions with people with this ideology.
You will be.
And then what their goal is.
We have all seen that, teachers unions are really strong, and it's also DSA's biggest industry. So there's a lot of overlap between socialists and teachers, and hopefully more soon. Basically, when teachers go on strike, it's as if every single parent at their job is also going on strike because they can't go to work.
Your exchanges with students can help shape a generation of critical thinkers and political actors. You will be a key source for how many young Americans come to perceive the world around them. You may even have the opportunity to teach about social justice and liberation history. And crucially, for organizers, your political work doesn't end at the classroom door.
We as socialists need to build a militant minority of class-conscious teachers that can move our unions in a more militant and democratic direction. Like I said, my name's Shayna. I'm Right now, an assistant teacher in Oakland Public Schools at an elementary school, and looking to get my credential next year to be a full classroom teacher. So we just heard from Ira a bit about some of the reasons why teaching is a really strategic and important industry for socialists to organize in. Right now, we're going to look at some quotes from this pamphlet called Why Socialists Should Become Teachers. Maybe many of you have seen it. It's kind of well known in DSA and Why DSA. It was a joint publication written by some teachers coming out of some, big teacher strikes in the last 10 years. And of course, I think we have all seen that, teachers unions are really strong, and it's also DSA's biggest industry. So there's a lot of overlap between socialists and teachers, and hopefully more soon.
Our strategic power is made possible not only by our location in the economy and in civil society, but by our size. Education is a sizable institution in nearly every town, county, and city in the country. When teachers take job action or strike, it has enormous consequences for the district. Administrators either have to staff the buildings, which is difficult or impossible, especially with workers of similar skill and training, or they have to close the schools, forcing parents to call out from work or arrange alternate care. Of course, this disruption can also make parents feel that teachers are holding them hostage. While this has happened in the past, if parents are organized and feel an investment in the struggle, the framing of teachers as greedy becomes ineffective.
Basically, when teachers go on strike, it's as if every single parent at their job is also going on strike because they can't go to work. And this is especially obviously with younger kids. Maybe high schoolers can stay home by themselves, but district strike on a district-wide level. So when all of these kids are out of school, it has almost double the effect as normal because the teachers are already on strike, and that is, getting them what they need in their contract. But also all these other workers, which are the parents, are unable to work. And so, as Arla said earlier, it really shuts down the whole economy of a local city when the district goes on strike.
It's likely that you've had at least one teacher who shaped your perspective, changed your worldview, or inspired you. You could be that person for your students. No matter what subject or grade you teach, your exchanges with students can help shape a generation of critical thinkers and political actors. You will be a key source for how many young Americans come to perceive the world around them. You may even have the opportunity to teach about social history. And crucially, for organizers, your political work doesn't end at the classroom door. Your interactions and shared struggle with coworkers can be just as fulfilling.
We as socialists need to build a militant minority of class-conscious teachers that can move our unions in a more militant and democratic direction. This direction, steered from the shop floor, should aim to make universal demands that bear on the lives of the working class at large. So this is kind of a big summary of everything that we've been reading and that Ira mentioned earlier, but militant means that workers are willing to take action, to go on strike, or to do what they need to do to win a strong contract. That is a pervasive attitude. So socialists being the militant minority, meaning, if there's one socialist at each school in a district.
So the plan here is very clear. They want to use the teachers' unions to shut down the schools and then, in effect, shut down the parents, having a twofold effect. When teachers go on strike, it is a headache for parents. But these people are actively working to salt those unions with individuals who are willing to take it to this level, to force the situation, to disrupt your life. Here's the point she makes. Now, this is 2 days ago. It's confirmed that Joshua Yan is the shooter at the ICE facility in Dallas this morning, 2 days ago. And we now know he is part of Antifa. Here are the receipts.
I have to be honest. I'm Karlyn Borysenko. I'm an analyst and independent journalist covering the far left in America. And breaking news, the shooter at the ICE facility in Dallas is confirmed to be Joshua John. And we have confirmed that Joshua John is indeed a revolutionary communist that is a member of Antifa. And I'm going to show you the evidence. Now, when I first saw Joshua's picture today, I have to be honest, I said to myself, that is exactly what I would expect a member of Antifa to look like. But we don't want to go on looks alone. And then this profile of John surfaced with what appears to be a communist photo. And when we zoom in, yep, that's pretty communist. That's pretty communist right there. I did question if this was real, and it does look like it did come from Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer might be crazy, but she is great for research and information like this. So it is confirmed that the ICE shooter is indeed a member of Antifa, because Antifa is the militant, violent arm of the far left. If you want more, you can follow my work over on Substack, Karlyn, Karlyn.substack.com. I'm Karlyn Borysenko. I'm an analyst in...
President Trump, of course, taking full action against Antifa. She writes, share this video. If you agree with me, we should put Antifa in Alcatraz. It's time for concentration camps to make a comeback, she says, to house the far left so they are wandering free in the world to organize. I wonder what's being said in this video.
Wish anyone who supported...
Because that's the step, right? We're talking about fascism. If you have a full-on fascist situation, the Democratic Party becomes illegal, right? And anyone who supports it is potentially thrown in a camp. We're not there yet.
I was going to say, I was like...
I fucking wish anyone who supported the left was thrown in a camp. I wish... Can we make this dream a reality, except have it be far more than just the Democratic Party, please? Because I'm not even that worried about the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is imploding. I don't care about them at all. They're boring. Like I would like everyone to the left of the Democratic Party to be thrown into a camp. One in the chat if you would like everyone to the left of the Democratic Party to be thrown into a camp. 2 in the chat if you do not want to throw everyone to the left of the Democratic Party into a camp. I just want to get a pulse check here. 1 in the chat if you would be okay with throwing every single person to the left of the Democratic Party in a camp. 2 in the chat if you're just fine with them roaming around in public. Yeah. Again, we...
Yeah, I guess we could take that poll here, too. What do you guys think? Certainly, there needs to be accountability. If you got value in this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So the designation changes the game entirely. For years, Antifa operated as the Democrats' street army, burning cities during mostly peaceful protests while media ran cover. They assaulted journalists, elderly people, anyone wearing red hats. Portland became a war zone. Seattle had its autonomous zone. Now they're officially terrorists, and federal resources can dismantle their networks, freeze funding, and prosecute supporters. Now, her undercover work exposed their plan to use teachers' strikes to collapse our economy. The Dallas ICE shooter proved that they've graduated from riots to assassination attempts. These are not protesters. They are organized domestic enemies using violence for political goals. That is terrorism, plain and simple. President Trump has kept his promise. The black bloc cowards who hide behind masks while attacking innocent Americans now face the full weight of federal law enforcement. So here is my question. Should anyone funding Antifa face terror support charges? Yes or no? Sound off below and show your colors by grabbing some American badass gear from our merch shop linked below.